Hello. Well, again, I was on the internet watching different channels, different videos on online, and I come across a speech that was made by Senator Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana. I always like him because he cuts it down to bare bones, and he kind of makes you chuckle when he's doing it. But he had some really he made a speech that really got me to thinking. He's what he said in the speech was, and what I've noticed on the internet is that Trump appointed Elon Musk to um, to basically do an audit on the U.S. government, the different agencies and you know alphabet soup that we have as part of our government. Do an audit on them, and boy, the Democrats they really got their hackles up. They did not like that at all. How dare you tell us, you know, take a look at how we're spending our money. Well, it's not your money. It's the people's money. And he said Democrats are all up in arms about it. And, and he didn't understand. They didn't want them to audit. Well, that's what Trump ran on. He said he was going to audit the American government. And he was voted into office. So that would tell me that's what the American people want. But well, Senator Kennedy said that he looked at the people that were in Washington and he saw them as very frustrated class presidents. Went to Washington and they want things done their way. This is the way we've always done it, and this is how it should keep being done. Well, logic would tell me that if you do things one way all the time and you end up, even with a company, with a government, whatever, if your debt keeps getting more and more, higher and higher, you're doing something wrong. Because the government's supposed to work for the people. If you have a company, you're supposed to make money and hopefully distribute some of that out to your employees in appreciation, at least. But our debt keeps getting higher and higher, but we're supposed to keep doing things the same way. Well, no, something's wrong there. I mean, he had a chart there, and it basically said that, our debt right now is like $36 trillion, which, if you break it down, we got 355 million citizens in this country. That's over $102,000 each that we would have to pay to get rid of our deficit. 102,000. It's like I said, it's unsustainable. So Trump ran on We're going to audit the federal government, find out where we're wasting money, where we're just flat out giving money to causes that are totally opposed to what our country stands for. And we're going to weed it out and say, no, no more spending to that. But the Democrats are yelling and screaming, this has never been done before. This is not how we do things. Well, no, this is a different way of doing things. But nobody's yelling about what Musk is finding. He put Elon Musk in charge of this, and he got a pretty smart group of people with him, and they're going in department by department and taking a look at the books. But you don't hear anyone talking about what they're finding. I've seen a lot of, basic citizens on the internet and stuff talking about what they're finding, but Congress ain't saying diddly about what's actually being found. And for them, I know myself, I'm pretty upset with what they're finding also. I've mentioned it on here a couple times. But what they're finding is it's atrocious. If you had these people running your company, you if you wanted to make any money, you'd stack them. You'd clean house. Say, yeah, you're not so much. But none of the Democrats want this looked at. Why is that? Well, because you know they won't say it, but they've been getting kickbacks. You look at like Elizabeth Warren and Dick Durbin and you know all these talking heads on grandstanders in Congress, and they they've been found to be getting they're all against well they're all for the vaccine programs and all of a few years back they were totally opposed to big pharma. Well, now they're just praising them. But then they looked at Elizabeth Warren's books, and she's getting a large proportion of the money she used to run for Congress was from pharmaceutical companies. Huh. Same with Dick Durbin, and then there's a bunch more. Cory Booker, of course, he mainly, everything to him is racist. But they've all been funded by these people that now all of a sudden cannot do any bad. When a few years ago they were public enemy number one. But Senator Kennedy made a very good point that they're all mad at Trump for doing this, which he said he was going to. He kept his promise, and they're mad about it. But no one's talking about what's actually being found, because most of them are making money off of it, and that seems to be the you hear a lot of talk now. Well, you have in the past, but you hear a, they've increased the volume on calls for term limits. If you run for the Senate, you get 2 6-year terms, and then you're done. Let somebody else come in there. That was the idea um, behind uh, Congress, was that was the people's voice. Well, now we've got you know 89, 91-year-old people in Congress that's the only job they've ever had is you know in Congress. And I'm sure they've found all sorts of ways to twist and manipulate how we write our laws so that, they get a they get a chunk of the profits off of it. Doesn't go to the people. People are just subject to them, which by our Constitution, that's not the way it should be. Our Congress and our our senators and our representatives should be subject to us. That's we're paying their wages, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it was designed to be. But we've screwed that up. I'd like to see them put a bill through Congress where you are, you know, you get two for the Senate. They've already got it set for 6-year terms. Well, you do two of them, and then you move over for somebody else to come in. Representatives, they got 4-year terms. So I don't know. I guess to make it fair, you could say they get 3 terms, so that both the representative would have 12 years and the senator would have 12 years. That's kind of a compromise, but that would solve a lot of problems. You'd probably get a wider array, a bigger cross section of America into our Congress. But another comment I saw on one of the videos I was watching, it was about the cabinet. They were talking about Kash Patel and his being, you know, approved by Congress. And one of the comments was that the president should be able to appoint whoever he wants without Congress saying anything about it. Well, you know, that would be a slippery slope too, because she may say that now because she wants all of Trump's appointees to be approved. But what happens in the next election if a Democrat wins? Should we just blanket approve all them too? No, this is because these people are not elected by the people. They have to be, they're in government office, they have to be subject to the people. And this is our way of doing that. They have to go through an approval hearing of Congress. That's the people having their voice on these appointed offices, and that's just fair. That's you know very smart. It was very smart what our founding fathers did there, because a lot of those offices could be used in very nefarious ways. But this is America's. Same thing goes with Supreme Court justices. They're appointed and they're in there for life. But they get appointed by the president, but they have to go through a hearing in Congress for the people to have a voice in saying, you know, yes, this person should be a Supreme Court justice, or no, this person should not be a Supreme Court justice. But you talk about the Supreme Court, you could get into, you know, the whole, flooding the court, and that's no, it should stay where it is. And so what if, it when it comes to the Supreme Court justices, it's a roll of the dice. Trump just happened to have 3 Supreme Court justices that retired in his first term. So he was able to put 3 people on the court. And of course he's gonna pick people that kind of lean his direction. Of course, a couple of them I think they kind of pulled the wool over Trump's eyes a little, because they were meant to be conservatives, but they definitely vote otherwise. But they had to go through the approval process in Congress, which that should be it. That's the people having their voice, which is what this country is founded on. We give people power, but it's the people giving them power, and the people can take it away. And that's what we have elections every 4 years for. I mean, even our president is on term limits. That was very smart. I think we would be just as smart if we initiated term limits for Congress. But as far as Elon Musk goes, he was appointed by the president, approved by the Congress, and now he's doing exactly what he said and what Trump said they were going to do. They're going through and they're auditing the United States government. It's been a long time in coming. I mean, we've had rampant spending. I can remember all the way back to the Ross Perot days. I wasn't a big fan of Ross Perot, and luckily he didn't get put in office, because I think he would have been a little tyrant. But he was appointed by the president, approved by the people. Let him do his job. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And he's going through, and just like when the IRS comes to you and does an audit on you, they go line by line. You spent this much money on this thing. Why? You spent this much money on this thing. What was the need? Companies have their books audited. Sometimes they got them on a regular schedule, like every 3-4 years. I know Even at the grocery store, we had to do everyone we had to audit the cash drawers for the cashiers. Everybody should be audited. That's a check and balance. If we find you're doing something wrong, then we got to address that. But I've also seen, um, well, my last job, we'd audit the cash drawer. They'd say it was an audit, but then if I found a discrepancy, well, we just won't count that one. Well, no, that's what the audit system is for, is to find problems and address them and take care of them. Well, we'll just find another drawer to audit, and that'll we were supposed to do 2 or 3 audits a night. Well, we'll find another cash drawer and you can audit that one. No, no. If there's a discrepancy, I felt, and I ruffled feathers at the store too. If I found a discrepancy, I'd write it down as a discrepancy, and I'd leave it for the bookkeeper in the morning, because that's what the audit system was for. It was to find problems and address them and to take care of them, not to find the problem and then, well, we'll do another drawer instead, because I don't know, because I don't want to be bothered. No, no, that's as bookkeeper, that's part of your job, is to find and address these problems. Or if it needs to be taken higher up, if it, what if it's a continuing problem? You keep sweeping these discrepancies under the rug, and you've got four or five discrepancies in a month by the same person. But if you sweep them under the rug, you don't know. Unless you're someone like me that remembers and says, "Hey, there's an issue here." But if most other people, you sweep it and, well, we'll just do another drawer instead, and put that down as our audit, and then forget about it. Not my job. No, the reason for the audit was to find problems and then to address them and take care of them. But if you got, 4 or 5 in a month, that would tell me that somebody's slipping some money somewhere. Somebody's, you know, somebody's bettering their circumstances at the store's expense. And that's what we have in Congress. We've had too many years that we've just didn't worry about it. Well, that's the government. They spend their money the way they want. Well, it's not the government's money. It's our money. It's coming from my paycheck, your paycheck. Everybody that has an income pays taxes. It's the people's money. And the government should be held accountable, just like every person in the United States is accountable for their spending. It's just good business, if not good government. Because, why would I want to give money to pay for sex change operations in Bangladesh? Why? Why are we spending money on that? Is my question. And I'm sure there's some out there that say, yeah, we should be spending money. Well, no, we shouldn't, because it's not what the people as a whole want. Building houses for famine relief in Ethiopia, great. Providing food to families in Sudan, yes, that's U.S. aid. That's helping out where we can. But providing sex change operations to people in Pakistan is not aid. That's where we're putting our values ahead of humanitarian, because we have a large in the last administration was big on the woke culture, so they want to spread it to all these other countries. Well, no, culturally those countries don't want that. Give them a meal, help them that way. Improve their roof, help them that way. But not, cutting appendages off of young people and saying you're helping. That's not helping. That's not doing anything. That's subversion of a culture. But that's what I saw on the internet today, and I was very very happy with what Senator Kennedy said. I really like Senator Kennedy. He seems to put things in a way that the average American, no matter if you're from the South, the North, the West, Midwest, it doesn't matter. You can understand what he's talking about. Just puts it into basic American English. And I know, I'd assume the people that he represents in Louisiana, that's why they elected him, was because he can break all the legalese down to brass tacks and, give it to you straight. Whether it's painful or not, you got the basic issue. But I'm encouraged by what the Department of Government Efficiency is doing. I'm very much encouraged by that. When you start making government sweat, it's a good thing. Keep going. You still got some work to do, but know when you got to stop. But I can see we should go through all the agencies like this, all the departments. Can't stop there. You got education, you got HHS, you got State Department, you name it. Keep going, Elon. But my time is up. So I'll keep my ear to the internet and probably be on here tomorrow with another one, with another video. But until then, I'll leave you and Semper Fi.